was traded, how would that affect the offense? How would that affect you?
Pick the right question to sip on, huh?
Yo, quick reflection to the shit that I've written. Take it for your reference, I'm a man on a mission. Truth be told, it's all about financial condition. Multiply these numbers while you mad at the system, and I'm a. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Zaho Facts in the building, and this is video number 2. And as you can hear, it sounds a lot more crispier. I am on my podcast setup. I'm at the crib now. Um, I dropped episode 1 a little earlier today in regards to OTAs. Um, and we didn't know anything when I had made that video, but now we have some notes to work with from Eagles OTAs today. Very notable things happen. But we can start with the people that weren't at OTAs. Um, the biggest shocker of the day. AJ Brown was not at OTA, guys. He wasn't at OTAs, guys. All right. AJ Brown was not in attendance. Holy hell, what are we gonna do? Lane Johnson also wasn't there, which is a little more concerning. Jalen Carter, Jahad Campbell, and Wicks, Tavion Wicks, who we just traded for, wasn't there, which is kind of weird as well. I didn't think he had any like concerns or anything, but hey, it's OTAs. I'm not gonna like go too crazy. It's late May, early June. You know, we still got a couple months till camp and all that. But it is very interesting to me. A couple things, to take away. Obviously, like, your Brandon Lee Gowdens of the world, your ESPs of the world, they were kind of giving the play by plays when it was like 7-on-7 and it was team drills and stuff. Woolen making plays out there early on. Fangio seems to love him, which I love because um, mistake me if I'm wrong. There was a lot of chatter coming out of like Seattle, especially late last year, about his attitude and just his drive, which ultimately like took him off the field, and they were more in favor of Josh Jobe. But the fact that Fangio loves him, because like, let's be real, like it takes a lot to win over Vic Fangio. So like the fact that like Woolen already came in with the right attitude to do that. Hey, like, and I get it. It's a prove it year. You got to, these athletes know, like, you got to save face and shit. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, okay, like, like that was impressive to me. Fangio's messing with Woolen, and Woolen made a play on the ball today. Um, a lot of under center for Jalen Hurts. And I seen some clips of him doing some handoffs on some wide receiver sweeps, so I do like that. Um, Lemon for getting first team reps. I do like that. I like that very much so. I do want to see what it looks like when Wicks gets there, because Mannion is high on Wicks, and I think Wicks will be in the mix for that wide receiver 2 spot. Another thing I found kind of odd today was no Eli Stowers news. I didn't really hear much about him besides the fact that he was present. I seen like a tweet that said he was present, but other than that, yeah, no Eli Stowers. That was kind of weird to me. And Uar Bernard out there getting some, practice reps in, and I know Jordan Davis said that he's getting the costume, and Moro Jomo, him being Nigerian, he's helping him out, getting accustomed to everything. So shout out to Uar, man. The dude is a freak of nature. If we can get anything out of him, it's a win. Straight up. Um, Nick Sirianni's press conference, I found interesting. I found very, very interesting. Um, there were some narratives that I seen on Twitter, like, that was creative out of it, and like, low key, I think he does feel it, y'all. Like, he does feel the pressure of a young, innovative offensive coach coming in, and if this dude makes Jalen Hurts like an MVP, I and listen, I've caped for fucking Nick Sirianni. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, I've caped for Nick Sirianni, but at the same time, I gotta keep it 100 when it comes to the yearn for a play caller as your head coach. The stability, the flexibility it gives your franchise. Um, it is something that's irreplaceable. And though Nick Sirianni did win us a Super Bowl, well, I can't say he won us a Super Bowl, but he was the head coach of us winning a Super Bowl. Um, and I do like him as a people person. Like, I think that is understated. Like, we've seen so many head coaches in the NFL be gurus and just have shitty attitudes, and they no longer coaches in the league. You know what I mean? Like, i.e., guys like John Gruden, you know, who, granted, he did win the Super Bowl, but at the same time, like, look at him in the later tenure of his career. But shout out to John Gruden because, you know, his players did, for the most part, early on respect him. Um, but at the same time, there are players react, especially in this day and age with newer and, you know, like the newer age NIL players, they don't really take the, you know, authority coach well. So like Sirianni is like a perfect mesh. He'll hold you accountable when you need to be, even if you don't want to hear it, like AJ Brown last year in the playoffs. But at the same time, you know, he's fair. I'll say he's fair. But if Mannion comes in and goes fucking crazy, it's gonna be an interesting conversation. Like, I think even if Mannion gets us to like the divisional round, or the chip, you know, the NFC Championship, and we fall short, but we're a top 5 unit on offense. There's gonna be a lot of interesting chatter coming out of Philly next year. But you know, today's the first day of OTAs, but the fact that Sirianni was kind of sweating by the way that he was saying that, you know, Mannion beats him to you know, to the facility every day, and he's the last one to leave. Like, the dude is, he wants bigger and better things, Nick. Just so you know. Pause. He wants, you know what I mean? He wants your job, dog. But we'll see how it goes. Ultimately, I embrace the competition, man. I just want us to win Super Bowls, man. So whatever way we got to pivot is whatever way we got to pivot. But I loved what Jalen Hurts said about AJ Brown. You know, kept it classy, regardless if they do have issues or not. I just find it weird, like, in society nowadays, we be so invested in niggas' business. Like, if they got an issue, they got an issue, bro. Like, and we may never find out. Like, the one good thing about the Eagles when it comes to like drama in house is that even if it does get out to like reporters and stuff, like, it's all in confidence. Like, these dudes don't be going out saying stuff. Like, think about it this way. Only a few Eagles insiders, very few, know exactly why CJGJ is no longer here. And it's never got out why. Like, and that's like, to me, that's like one of the biggest unsolved mysteries because we know it wasn't because of Cap. We know that. We know that's Cap because of what they saying about the Cap. You feel me? Because we know it's something deeper, but only few people know, and it hasn't gone viral on Twitter to why it is. So that goes to show, like, there isn't a lot of chattermouths in terms of like players, but if coaches become unhappy here, that's usually when the sources come out about Jalen Hurts and a whole bunch of bullshit, i.e., Kevin Patullo. But that's, oh man, if I was doing content back then last year, I probably would have had a heart attack by now. But yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. But I did like what else, you know, what Jalen Hurts said about the offense, and you know, the fact that Mannion, when he asks his questions, Mannion has explanations. That's huge. That means that it's a two-way streak. It's a two-way communication thing. And that's going to lead to Jalen putting more input into what he feels like um, what he feels like can benefit the offense of what he wants to do, which is great. I think that's going to ultimately lead to us having a lot more success. Because I do think when you don't have that connect, and this is like, and if you even working with anybody at work, if you know if you're like doing a team job. Ultimately, you have to depend on one another. So the communication between Mannion and Hurts, as long as that stays strong, I think the whole offense will be good as a whole. But I do think that, you know, based on some of the plays that I've seen happen and some of the, it's going to be a learning curve. Like I said, it's the first day of OTAs, so you can't expect um, the offense to be like, oh my god, the best offense, the greatest show on turf, 2,000 Rams right off the back. It ain't gonna happen, dog. Um, but let's get on to the defensive side of the ball. I know I mentioned Woolen a little bit. Zach Bond talked to the media today. So did Jordan Davis. Yo, Bond said that Fangio is like they about to take it to the next level. I'm like, hey, well, the next level, like, yo, because to me, the 24-25, like that playoff run to me, I last year I didn't see that level. So I felt like they took a step back in my opinion, even though like we were still one of the gooder units in football. I do feel like we weren't on that level of where we were when we did Mahomes dirty in the Super Bowl. But I do get what Bond is saying from a trust aspect because Fangio has the comfortability now playing a couple years with this, mostly the same unit. There's only a couple pieces that are different, but in terms of starters, you have the majority of your team back from that Super Bowl team. So, and those, three key players on that team were rookies at that time. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Jalix Hunt, and they're now in year three, and year three is usually that jump. I think for the corners, they took that jump a year earlier because they both were all pros last year. But for Jalix, I do think it's going to be a big jump for him. Um, so we'll see. And like I said in my earlier video about him and Nolan Smith, that battle, didn't really hear much today in terms of you know, position battles or anything like that. I think that, everybody's getting acquainted. Um, so, it is good to see my birds. It's good to just see, the ESP plays getting tweeted and, tapping in and whatever. But it's just good to see that Eagles football is back in the fold and we're hearing more about the team and what's going on a day to day, not the AJ Brown trade or the Jalen Hurts hit piece or we're not. It's just not like because listen, that was literally February, March, April. Those 3 months were hell. If you were an Eagles fan, and you know. If you know, you know. But I will say this: we're a week away, y'all. We're a week away from at least knowing what direction we're going in. I'm not gonna say we're a week away from trading AJ because I'm like, let's keep it a bean. Like how we could hold off till August. Who the hell knows? So I'm not gonna just be like, yeah, he's going to New England on June 2nd. No, not doggy. Yeah. But hey, we're going to we're gonna see. We're gonna see what the play is and we'll take it from there, man. Other keynotes that I heard Cole Payton made some good throws today. Cole Payton's an interesting case because he's a super athlete. And I do think we should trade Tanner McKee. Like that's just my opinion. I love Tanner McKee to death, but it's gonna end up a situation where you're gonna let him walk for nothing. And I'd rather get some sort of value for Tanner McKee at this point, just because of the simple fact that he's kind of earned that right to at least go compete somewhere at this point. And if we could if we can add a four for a fifth out of him, I'm all game, man. And I think he's worth that. I truly do. I think he can go to a team and he can be a quality starter. I'm not saying he can win a Super Bowl or anything, but hey, he has talent, and all he needs is a coach that believes in him, and But ultimately, right now with the situation going on and us drafting someone that kind of fits the mold of a Hurts, where if something was to happen to Hurts, God forbid, we could pivot to someone like Peyton who could run like an RPO style offense, a more simplified offense that isn't really hard to get adapted to. So if we need him to win a couple games for us, he can. So that's kind of like my theory with it, because what made me realize, I don't know, I was thinking about it today, was the Washington game last year. Like, even with McKee, like, and I get it, the play calling was fucking putrid, but at the same time, we could not run some of our bread and butter. And I can't believe I'm saying Kevin Patullo offense had bread and butter, but we low key did with like it, and it's a staple in the Sirianni era. It's not a reflection of fucking Patullo, but it's the read options, the bubbles off of play action. Those things weren't available with McKee, and we settled for more drop back. And granted, I think we were trying to showcase him for trade value purposes, but um, it did make me kind of realize, like, okay, we kind of do need somebody that has a little bit of mobility, a little bit of legs, like, and kind of fits the mold of a Hurts. And I think Cole Payton can do that. So the fact that he was making good throws in the first day of OTAs, that is encouraging. I think he's somebody that we can low key develop to back up Jalen Hurts in the long term. And then of course we still have Andy Dalton, who threw a pick six today. Shout out Andy Dandy. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the birds, doggy. OTAs was wavy. Um, you know, first day, AJ Brown, not in attendance, of course. Jalen Hurts giving, being a class act, letting his man's know, like, hey, yo, I'm happy for you. I'm congratulative of you getting married, and you gotta respect it at the end of the day, bro. So I'll be back next time. More OTAs news. I'm gonna keep posting, bro. Like, we just gonna keep doing it. I'm just chatting with y'all, bro. Like, we just cooling it. Like, I'm not even on some super like journalistic shit at this point. I'm kind of just shooting the shit with my content. And like I said, there'll be more around it, that will kind of give you a full-fledged idea of how I'm trying to execute it. But um shout out to y'all, whoever tapped into the first episode. Shout out to y'all, because the audio was bullshit. But we here now. um Talking Sporty was a whole facts.